Hi there, Unlearner. Welcome to this episode of the Unlearners podcast with myself, Sanele Gamede, the Unlearning Lady. It is an absolute pleasure and honor to have you joining us for this conversation today and to talk about burning the textbooks. Oh my goodness, you know what this title reminds me of before I introduce you to our guest today, who is in this space, so I think he can say a few things about this, is one of the days during my time as a primary school teacher, I was teaching grade 5, a little boy opened up, he took out of his pocket a box of matches. You know, that regular matchbox that has that look, the South African matchbox that people predominantly use. I won't name any names, but he took one of those out. And I remember seeing that and going, oh my goodness, he's going to burn down the school. Everybody run. It's about to get dangerous. And then he opened it and put his finger in there, and out came Vaseline on his finger, put it on his lips. That was mind-blowing for me because it taught me just how children don't have a reliability on what objects are around how they use them. That little boy was able to put his lip balm into a little matchstick container because he was able to go that this doesn't have to be restricted to what it is, but it can be so much more. So that was mind-blowing for me. But today we're burning textbooks. We are rethinking unlearning. We are rethinking learning and looking at right on the ground, curriculum-wise especially, but also around how teachers are getting trained and how we think about education. What is it that we need to learn? And we are doing that with none other than the incredible, the fantastic Dr. Sanele Gamede. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm intrigued by the penning of textbook because, you know, we're taking it back to 1970, is it 1976, the youth back in the days, but literally we are not penning books in case in case the unlearners think we are penning textbook. I'm a lecturer, so I can't.
We're not.
Of course, it's not the literal. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Hey, what took you so long?
Listen, you are so direct. I love it.
I'm kidding.
I think this is the perfect time.
Yeah.
If we were going to bring you in, it was going to be for this conversation. And we have never, our unlearners know this is the very first time we have focused an entire season on education.
Interesting.
And so if ever there was a perfect time, this is it. I would have done you an injustice.
You are a primary school teacher.
Right?
You make people feel great. No, thank you so much. I think you did great, and you are doing great. Actually, the first time I had a glimpse on your work, I was like, I'm learning. I was like, what is this lady up to? And I understood the concept. I love it.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much. And I know you do have a passion for this because we've been speaking on and off here and there just around my presence on your podcast, but also the work you do here and there. And this is the thing about unlearning. As someone who does have a background in education, the two are so beautifully linked. I often say to clients who work a lot with corporate organizations now, I often say that the bad news is that learning and unlearning are actually the same thing, because when you learn, you are unlearning, you are disrupting patterns and mental models that already exist in your brain. So let's get right down to this conversation now about burning textbooks. And start right here. From your perspective, Sanele, what are you finding? What have you seen? What are you understanding are some of the big unlearnings that need to happen as far as our curriculums go?
The Unlearners.
Learn, change. Learn, change. The Unlearners.
The Unlearners. The Unlearners. Learn, change, grow.
I think there's so much that needs to be done. I want to acknowledge the amount of work that has been done, but what we are faced with is a curriculum that does not translate to what the economy is looking for, to what the industry is looking for. We are doing great. I mean, I'm in the education space. We have young people that come out and do great, but we are sitting with a huge number of young people who are starting to think, is this education thing worth it?
Yeah.
Is it worth my investment? Because what happened is it doesn't translate. And I must say, I had a conversation recently with a group of young people to say, I think we need to meet each other halfway, as much as the curriculum might not translate, but you need to also play a part so that it translates. So there is a lot of unlearning, if I may put it in your context, to say in how we perceive education. You might be doing a Bachelor of Social Science in Developmental Studies or Media Studies, but I think you also need to start looking at the degree as a stepping stone to opening your mind to think critically, and also now start pushing yourself into something different from what media at the university probably that you are in is exposing you to. Start being thinking outside the box, destroy the box if you have to. So I think that's what currently we need to do, especially to respond to what is happening.
I like that. I think because the reason why I like that is because there is a huge dependency on the curriculum.
Yes.
Especially when we do look at some education systems within the African continent.
Yeah.
There's a huge dependency on the curriculum to guide, but also to carry.
Yes.
It's almost I'm going to stick to the curriculum, I'm going to work from the curriculum and trust that the curriculum writers and developers have my best interest at heart, and they are looking into the future, looking at the trends, and if I follow it to the letter, then it will get me to where I need to be. And which is great. Like you say, definitely there's room for that because we do trust the individuals that come together. These are professionals.
And people pay money.
They do.
To go to school, trusting that this curriculum will take me somewhere.
Yeah.
Yes,
and so it is that integration of the presence of the curriculum, but also what I'm hearing you say is alongside that is then looking at us and the perception we have around education.
Definitely.
And allowing that almost to be joined with, yes, the curriculum is there to introduce structure.
Yeah.
But what can you do?
What can you do? And especially because we are living in a moment, Sanele, where there is so much that you can learn outside the learning space, which goes exactly with what you are pushing, the idea of unlearning the idea of learning.
Yeah.
Because when you are pushing somehow in your concept, you are also saying to a student who is probably a first year at university, just unlearn the way you think learning is going to take place and start moving with time, start with exploring how things are done and push yourself, because sometimes what keeps people probably having a problem with education is just looking at education like in a tunnel. They don't explore from the sides. They just rely on the curriculum and they think it will just automatically translate. Sometimes it does. In some degrees, it doesn't. It needs you to shake a little bit of what needs to be shaken.
Let's look at the practicality then of that shaking.
Yeah.
Is where is the line where you go, okay, this is as far as the curriculum goes, and then this is where I add my spice. This is where I innovate. This is where I now bring in what I know is important for these students that I recognize the curriculum is not doing. Where does that come in? How does an educator, a professor, a lecturer balance that out? How do they know where to go?
I think we are teaching quite an interesting group. I mean, the student profile is changing every year.
Right?
Yeah, it's sometimes you find good students, sometimes you find students that you will need to work a little bit hard. But what I've observed, Sanele, is that sometimes, and in most cases, you teach students that are capable. And most of our students are capable. But all you need is to inspire. And that's one of my teaching philosophy, is to inspire and motivate them and go as far as showing them that it's possible because it's doable. So what I normally will do is I'm active in the media space. So I contribute in media platforms, I engage in media workshops. The students that I teach, for example, they see what I'm teaching translating in me.
Yeah.
So when I talk about being a journalist, they see me being interviewed by a journalist, and they can see this person is not sending us where he has never been, where he is not probably going to. So I think as a lecturer at this time, you need to sort of bring industry experts in the class, bring the expertise. It needs you not only to just be a textbook lecturer or professor, it also needs you to be involved in the industry. For example, you teach journalism. You might not have time to be a practicing journalist, but you have a column in a certain news outlet. Your students can see what you are talking, and they can see you having workshops with journalists where they can see pictures of you with the people in the industry, and make sure that you bring innovative ways. Technology is quite great. You could have someone from the US, someone from UK or Kenya sitting in your class through technology. So that's, I think, how you need to add the salt where the curriculum kind of adds.
And what that says for me, we had Mark Loon, who is the head, he calls himself the head monster at what's known as Kairos School, which is an alternative mode of schooling. And one of the things he was saying we were speaking a lot about the hidden curriculum. And what I'm hearing from yourself is this is another way that you have a hidden curriculum that is underplayed. So there's the one you're not controlling, but this is the one you can control. That is outside of the physical given caps or whatever, depending on the country you're in. Mode that's given to you written down in black and white. This is also a form of curriculum that you can introduce, but intentionally. And one of the things I like, Sanele, and I'd like your thoughts a little bit on this, is there have been consistent waves, and now individuals are taking their learning journeys very seriously because of the growth in social media, but also in how we have consistently fought against the idea of an expert or a guru. And there's so much controversy around this. But what we've seen that social media has allowed us to do is for individuals to go, I know what I know. I know a truth, so I can stand on social media. I can stand on a podium and share certain things, and I don't need another individual to do such and such.
I see.
However, having said that, there was another movement around, especially the MBA space, where you would find a lot of professors, a lot of lecturers teaching business courses, but have never scaled a business in their lives, have never hired individuals. And so it made people go, if education, as far as the curriculum goes, is just a piece of paper or a textbook that is taught by an individual who has no practical experience with what they are teaching, then what's the point? So what I'm hearing you say is a new way of thinking about the hidden curriculum is know what you are teaching. Don't just know it here, but know it here.
In fact, it's going to make you the best lecturer. I mean, of course, I have my energy, which you have seen. I have my energy, which my students love, and I teach first years and third years. And first years at UJ, there are over 500 that I teach. So they love the fact that as many as they are, they feel accommodated. That's one attribute. Number two, you know what you are talking about. You can make practical, real examples, and they can see. And in your PowerPoint, you can pull up a picture of you while you were in this radio station or TV station. And I think it will make you one of the greatest asset if students know that this person. I am one of the graduate employability coordinator in my department. So students can come to me because they can see me active in the space. When they see me with a picture maybe of, let's say, Tibotage, they can say, hey, Sanele, do you have contacts of so and so? Of course I do, because I am in the space. So I think it's the hidden gem of the teaching and learning that lecturers, teachers should bring, so that when students come to your class, they don't just come for your slides, because that's something that they can download and read and watch YouTube, but they come for this thing that they know exactly your examples. They can't find them anywhere. How you break down, how you relate these concepts, it's something they cannot find anywhere, especially if you teach in a mode which is face-to-face and unrecorded.
Yeah.
I think you will be an asset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can agree with that, definitely, that there is that side that contributes to it. So much so that I often say that with the learning journey, one, there's what's taught, but there's also how it's taught.
Yes.
And that in itself is also teaching. It's also teaching.
Of course.
The culture that we have in an organization is in the practicality, but it's in how we teach each
Yes,
other. How we
yes.
actually engage with each other is truly where stuff happens. Because people are learning from that more than they're actually learning from the physical, tangible.
yeah.
I would even go so far, Sanele, as saying that if an organization or if a school, if an individual is still trying to put together their learning journey, they don't quite have everything together as yet. The most important thing you can do, rather than having a technical, setup, or your laptop or whatever it is, your textbook, your course, is just build the culture of being a learner. And then the other stuff can follow. But when you have the personal culture, which it means how you do things, be a learner in how you live, be a learner in how you inquire, be a learner in how you engage, be a learner in how you read. Everything else can come second, because at the end of the day, it's not the material that serves you. It's the culture that you have as an individual that you can then sell to an organization, to the market, to the employer. And then you become, like you say, you become a real asset to the marketplace.
Yes. And I feel lucky that I'm getting to unlearn today.
Yes. As someone is always learning, this is your chance.
And that's exactly what we are trying to say. Sometimes we are so glued in how things are. This is blue, and we always want it to be blue. Sometimes it might not be like that. So sometimes the culture of learning blocks us from actually learning. So I think the constant unlearning idea that you present, it's quite interesting.
I like what you said, that sometimes it's the very perception of learning that actually hinders learning itself. I feel like I need to say that again. Sometimes it's your perception of learning that's getting in the way of you actually learning. Wow, let's have that on a t-shirt. I will buy it and I'll sell it to everyone. That is so good. Talk to me a little bit more about how you've seen that play out in your lecture room. So we are putting together the very first cohort of this particular membership, and we want you to be part of it as a founding member. Now, what does that mean? Since we're still building it, very much like the growth journey of a butterfly, just from scratch, seeing how we can do things, building from the very beginning, from the ground up. We want you to be a part of it, to share with us what you desire to see in this kind of a community. So come on over. Don't expect too much structure because we're right at the beginning, but let's work together to build this out. Key successes and key things that you gain from being a founding member of the Unlearning Circle is that whatever it is that you contribute to being a part of this community, your price is set. As we grow this community and as we change the membership fee, yours is going to be capped at exactly what you have it as today. And also, you will always have the status of being a founding member of the Unlearning Circle, which means over time, we'd love to invite you to host different groups as part of the Unlearning Circle, to share your wisdom as a founding member, but also to take part in our retreats and everywhere else where we host other unlearners. This is an opportunity to get in from the ground up.
I think when you have students, over 500 students, of course, you will have students that are coming from different backgrounds. And they are taught by different teachers. They come from different quantiles in terms of the hierarchy of schools in the country, how they are being classified. So you are most likely to have students that think learning should be like this. And some, they've never been exposed to technology. And that's a reality. We have students that come from deep rural areas. Now, when you say, hey, go to this platform, download, I will upload a video, go to YouTube. Some of them, that stops them from learning at all. When you sit down with the student and say, hey, did you go through the material? And there was a point in time in early this semester where I went to the system and I looked at how many students have downloaded my slides, how many students have been to the site, how long have they been to the platform. I teach face-to-face, but we have a platform called Blackboard. Moodle, I used to use Blackboard, Moodle, where we upload our stuff and, material and activities, and it has reports. So when you sit with the student and you say, hey, I don't see that you have downloaded, or have you downloaded? They say no. And when you ask, hey, and I always ask, where are you from? They know where you're from, because from the answer, I'm from Engu to I'm from Eastern Cape, I then get to understand the culture of how learning has been taking place is hindering the student from exploring. Some, they're excited. Some, you give them a laptop, they haven't seen it, they're excited, they want. Some, they're afraid. I remember, Sanele, don't laugh, I spent hours writing an 800 words essay at UKZN as a first year, because every time I was writing at the LAN and I didn't have a laptop at the time, and every time when I type, I would press minimize by accident. And I didn't know what is minimize. So every time I minimize, the page disappears. And I'm like, what happened to my page? And we are scared of speaking English. So you're scared of asking someone, hey, I can't see my page anymore. And then I will press off. And the computer the desktop will turn off, and I will start it again. And back in the time, Microsoft wouldn't auto-save. And it's a public LAN, so it doesn't auto-save.
Yes.
So I will start over and over and over until a black student sat next to me, and I had the courage, because it was 2 a.m. I had the courage to say, hey, this thing has been happening. Please. So you see the culture of not asking for help. It has hindered learning for many people, technology, the environment, the lecture halls. There is a student that I had a session who said, Sanele, when I got here, it freaked me out. I'm coming from a disabled school. So now I'm coming to a normal university. And this thing is too much for me. I'm coming from Limpopo. And so the culture there, how we have been doing things, has been the biggest problem for many students that I've taught.
And this is the thing, is that when we understand that learning is curiosity, then everything else can fall away. Then we don't have to feel shy about asking questions, because the very basis of curiosity is questioning.
Yes.
But we've been taught that questioning is, you don't know.
Culture.
You should know.
You are
What's
stupid.
wrong with you?
Yes. Did you even qualify to be here? Or did your mom or your dad bribe so that you get a space here? So you see that culture where we come from and all of that has hindered. And I've seen this with even adults, matured students doing masters, PhD. You send a document with track changes, and this happened to me as well in my honors, and I'm not going to forget my lecturer. I'm not going to mention her by name. I didn't know what is track changes. So she sends me this document with the track changes to say, please fix this, and she has fixed some of the things. All I needed to do was click accept the changes, and then look at the comments. And I didn't do that because I didn't see. I sent this document back to her as it is. I fixed whatever that I could fix, and she was so crossed because I didn't understand. So exactly the culture of asking, to some it says udom. So I think there is a lot. That's why I'm rooting for your idea. Your idea is quite exciting. I don't know, maybe when we have our conversation, I'll be asking the question.
Yes, but now it's me. I'm asking. I like that. Yeah. And this is the thing I want to go to, and then we're gonna sort of close off our conversation. Is shifting the perception you have of what learning truly is, and getting society, getting the world to firstly understand what true learning is and the value of it, is that true learning's value is in the questions and not in the answers.
Yes,
and we
yes.
need a society, we need schools, we need institutions that ask more questions and have less answers.
Yes.
Because it's more okay not to have answers and be okay with it.
Yes,
Because
yes.
we often are in that space where to not have the answers is the problem, but to not have the questions is the problem, because you assume that you know.
Whereas
and
you
that's what
don't.
I would be most nervous
Yeah,
about, is a
yeah.
person who always has answers rather than the person who doesn't
asked.
have answers.
Yes,
right?
yes. I think that's where we need to really take it and reshape the learning space by having our students curious all the time and leading with questions. And one of the painful thing, though, Sanele, is that our young people, which is something that we need to shape the perception about learning, is they just want to grab the certificate. That's one of the most painful thing, that when you speak of unlearning, I wish Sanele could come and really hammer that. Our young people, most of them, they just want the qualification because they were told the qualification will then open opportunities.
Yeah.
And then with this qualification, then I will get a job, I will buy a car, I will buy a house and live my
happy,
best life.
yeah.
Yes. So which then hinders the learning. Where do you see this is when a UJ then says, hey, we want to hire you. And you find this graduate has no skills, do not know anything. And whereas these days you are being given an opportunity from an internship, which means if they give you a 6 months, 12 months internship and you are blank, they just praying that this internship ends so that they can let you go.
Yeah, get you out of there.
Because in most cases, companies have stopped investing in developing people. They want people who can do stuff. So we have young graduates who can't do anything, who do not know anything, because the perception of learning was, I will go to class, listen to Sanele and take notes. Sanele will give me a test. I will just answer the multiple choice and I will be someone who's learned, if I may put it in that way. Whereas if you look at what you have, what you can do, most young people are blank. And we need to change that perception. And we need to make the classroom be an environment where young people are comfortable with coming there to be asked questions. Because in questions, you get to think. In thinking, you come up with ideas.
Yeah, it's the joy of learning. It's the joy of engaging, of questioning, of getting access to insights that you didn't have before that we've lost. Or that I think, maybe not to say we've lost, but maybe the system has somehow contributed to us losing. Because if we've been sold the perception, and I'd love to encourage our unlearners that we actually had this conversation on one of our episodes in this season with Bronwyn Williams. We were talking about qualification versus skill. This exact conversation, that we have been sold a lie. But now it is an opportunity for us to go, what is true learning? What is true skill? And bringing value to the market versus the qualification. And that the two are not synonymous. Just because you have the one doesn't mean you have the other. And also one can exist without the other.
It's a very volatile situation, because as a lecturer, I can't just say, hey, as long as you have skills, because the system, part of the system will say, I need qualifications. I hear that you have a skill, but I need something that will guarantee that you have. So I think it's volatile. Know your field. What does your field require? What is your field looking for? For example, IT. IT doesn't care that you have a PhD. IT cares about the stack of qualifications that you have done. So it goes like this instead of going up. So there are qualifications that values you going up because they think, oh, you have achieved more skills and all. But there are qualifications that goes like this way. The more short qualifications that you get, the more they believe you are in the industry, you are in the zone, you understand the field. But some qualifications, you go PhD, then you have more value and.
Is it the same as, I've heard the concept before of the T as far as skills and expertise go.
Yes,
and the way that one works is, if you think about the T, the capital T, it's got that short spread out end, and then it's got the long end. So what people often say is there's two ways to approach expertise and skill. Is that you can know a little bit about a few different things, or you can know a whole lot about one thing. And it's sounding like you're saying something similar, is it?
It's something like that, but you need to know your industry. What your industry values. Is it knowing a bit of small things, or knowing it's just in depth? So I think it's just volatile, and really I wish your
talk to them.
Allow me, your unlearners, to really unpack the idea of unlearning and looking at it and really investigating it, because there is so much learning in unlearning before you start learning.
Yeah. Okay, let's close off our conversation here. What is one thing, because you, I think, out of all of our guests for the season, are bringing a very unique perspective, in the sense that you are entrenched in the university ecosystem, in the university institution ecosystem. You are a lecturer, you've been there for a few years, you really know the system. What is one thing that you have seen is a key unlearning for our university staff? If someone is interacting with learners or students at that level, higher institutions of learning, what do they need to be unlearning?
I think today, I just spoke, before I came here, I just spoke to the Vice Dean for Teaching and Learning, and I said, you know what, I would have actually taught very well this semester if I had the student profile. So what I will say to everyone who's in this space, don't go with the slides that you used last semester. Don't go with the style. Don't go with the same attitude. Don't go with the same perception. I always prepare my slides afresh every time when I go. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's a lot of work, but it's so embarrassing to have slides that says 2023 and you are in 2025, and students are like, huh? Really? So this person didn't really prepare. So I think one of the biggest issue with our colleagues, they are just used into this, they know this, they've been teaching this, whereas what they're missing is they're not teaching the same people.
There it is.
The same people have changed. So you need to unlearn how you think teaching and lecturing is. The environment has changed. It is going to change. We have all AI these days. So things are changing. So I want you to unlearn how you think learning should take place.
Oh, wow. What a beautiful note to close off on. And I know when I used to be a teacher, one of the things that,
I didn't know that.
Our colleagues, really? One of the things that our colleagues used to love so much, we used to brag about, is with teaching, and this is the reason why it would get boring, as many would say, is because you're teaching the same content year on year, and many of us wouldn't change. Because the textbooks would remain the same, you would keep the lesson plans and just change the year and just roll it over into the next year. But what I love about what you've just said, and why it's such a powerful nugget to close off on, is that the student profile is everything.
Is changing.
It's everything.
I said to her, give me the student profile. Let me study where they're coming from, so that I understand who am I going to have in class. And then I will shift my jokes. I will shift my examples. I will know who am I speaking to. There's a student who's an exchange student who came, and she said, Sanele, in Sweden they will love you. But what they wouldn't love is your examples. Your examples are personal. So Swedish people, they are reserved. They don't speak about themselves as examples. They use examples of someone else. So when you are comfortable with talking about yourself, so they will freak out at first, but your energy, they will love it. So knowing who you are going to be teaching
Yeah.
will make you, even the dress code. Even the dress code will start to shift. Imagine you teaching students from rural areas and then you bring a tie and you look so fancy. They will just look at your outfit the entire lecture and leave with nothing.
Oh, Sanele, thank you so much for your time today. It's been such a gem. to close the season with
Did I
you.
convince you to come to my podcast?
It's done. Thank you so much for your time, eh?
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure, and I'm happy to be part of the unlearning family, and I hope they will love me. And yeah, the concept is beautiful. Thank you so much for leading it. It sounds insane when you first look at it, but please keep on pushing it. Please keep on pushing it. Maybe I should invite you in one of my classes, and I don't know how much you charge, but the university doesn't
I
have
think
money.
you can afford it. No, we'll talk about that offline. Thank you so much, Sanele. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, unlearners, that wraps up our conversation for today. What a juicy, beautiful one to close off our series and the conversations we have been having about rethinking education. As Dr. Sanele Gamede was sharing a little bit, it reminded me of a quote that was shared with me by a friend of mine that I lost to COVID. And it's by Heraclitus. It says, "Nobody ever crosses the same river twice, because it's not the same river and they are not the same person." Because even, you know, if you've read a book once before and then you pick it up again a year later and you're like, "Haibo, when did they put this in? It wasn't here the first time I read this book." The book is different because you are different. You're in a different place in your life. You're a different person. You've experienced different things, and this is exactly it. The education of yesterday, of when you and I were in school, of when you and I were in university as undergrads, it's not going to cut it. We need to completely rethink, reimagine, and unlearn what we think we know. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Unlearners podcast. It's been a pleasure having you, and we will see you soon. If you'd like to work with us a little bit more, find out a little bit more about our guest today and all of our guests for the season, go over to theunlearners.com and go over to the podcast tab to find out a little bit more about who we are and what we do. Thank you so much, Unlearners. We'll see you soon. Bye.
The Unlearners. Learn, change, grow. Learn, change, grow. The Unlearners. The Unlearners. The Unlearners. Learn, change, grow.